Chapter 6. My gaze lingered on her strawberry-scented hair, a perfect match for the sweetness of her kiss as I pulled away and leaned back in my chair. Tonight I felt ensnared by some unseen force, not quite myself. With Alice, the world transformed into something fresh and clean, a sanctuary where judgment faded away. As I looked into her light blue eyes, it was as if I had slipped into a dream, one where I felt safe, embraced by a sense of belonging that I hadn't known in years. I knew I had to take things slow with her. My body ached to pull her close, to lose myself in her warmth right then and there, but I fought against that urge. Raking my fingers through my hair, I struggled to regain control. The soft melodies from the terrace drifted into the restaurant, wrapping around us like a warm embrace. Sitting across from her felt oddly grounding, like I was finally anchored somewhere. I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself. As she toyed with her gold pendant, I caught a fragment of her murmured words, but they slipped past me. My attention returned to her lips, sweet and inviting, as she unfolded her napkin and placed it delicately on her lap. I couldn't help but imagine kissing the hidden parts of her beneath that alluring black dress. Then she leaned across the table and pressed her lips to mine. It was unintentional, but I found myself responding, opening up to her, pulling her closer. The rhythmic sound of steel drums echoed in my ears, and for a moment, I wondered if it was my own heartbeat racing. I let go of her chin just as the waitress approached. "John, I don't know what to say." I admitted, the words tumbling out without thought. Whatever had prompted them remained a mystery, but the lingering sensation of her kiss was still fresh on my lips. I sat back, crossing my arms, feeling the weight of uncertainty. "I don't either, Alice. I'm in the middle of changing my entire life." She shifted in her seat, the round table between us providing a welcome distance. "Okay, don't worry about it," she shrugged, her demeanor casual. "Tonight is a fantasy." Fantasies and I were a dangerous mix. I should have known better than to spend time with her. If I ventured too close to her room, I feared I wouldn't be able to walk away. The thought sent a shiver down my spine. She reminded me of a dream I'd never dared to have, a warmth I hadn't felt in years. The funeral is on my mind, I confess, the heaviness of loss creeping back in. Of course it is. Despite everything, he was your father and the only parent you had. I don't want my dark thoughts to ruin your night too. Maybe once we finish our meal, I should let you go back to your room. I fiddled with my water glass, feeling the tension coiling in my chest. "Don't run away on my account," she replied, a hint of challenge in her voice. I knew her words struck a nerve. My feelings for her soared, but I couldn't allow myself to believe in forever. In my world, vengeance ruled, and I held on to too much anger to ruin someone as bright as her. Breaking away from the FB, I wasn't as simple as handing in my badge. It was a labyrinth of complications. I drained my drink and finally said, "It's dangerous for me to involve myself in your life." Her fingers brushed against mine, igniting a spark of adrenaline. Who said involved? It was just a kiss. "A moment ago, you were reserved." I didn't know how to navigate this. I searched her light blue eyes as she sipped her wine, then took my hand. "Alice, don't be someone you're not, for me or anyone. You are too good for me." My heart ached as I saw her eyes glisten with unshed tears. "You are being dramatic." The last thing I wanted was to hurt her. "Oh, don't brush off how we feel right now. We both know where this leads. Then don't turn this moment into something it doesn't have to be. Just relax." Relaxing near her felt impossible. She radiated sexiness, and I was painfully aware of it. Back when Vicki was alive, I must have been blind to what was right in front of me. One moment with Alice could open up a lifetime of possibilities. I pulled my hands back to my lap, reminding myself to respect her. My sister's memory loomed over me, a reminder that I should keep my distance. The heat surged under my collar. Every fiber of my being craved her. I stood up and extended my hand. "Dance?" Surprise flickered across her face, but then she smiled, lighting up like I'd chosen her for the school dance. I shook off the thought and helped her up, my hand enveloping hers. "Okay, I want to be in your arms." Just for the dance, I reminded myself. I kept my lips sealed, focusing on her as she tucked her hair behind her ears and let me lead. Her curves felt perfect against me, and I couldn't shake the feeling that if I claimed this moment, I might just find the life I wanted. We found our positions on the dance floor where the vibrant salsa music wrapped around us like a warm embrace. I slid my arms around her perfectly shaped body, inhaling the sweet, fruity scent of strawberries that lingered in her hair. As I led her through the rhythm, I couldn't help but ask, "You are one of those women, aren't you?" She stumbled slightly, then let me take control, her frown deepening. "What are you talking about, those women?" I turned her, my fingers yearning to bring her closer. The beat pulsed like a heartbeat, and I finally said, The ones men call sweetheart. It's in your eyes." As the tempo quickened, she shook her hips in time with the music, making my body feel weak yet ignited. Her gaze was open and inviting. "What did you say? What's in my eyes?" This dance was both exhilarating and torturous. My lips ached to taste hers again as I swallowed hard. "How sweet and kind you are, and that you have a heart." I spun her around, taking a moment to regain my composure. Goosebumps erupted on my skin, every nerve ending hypersensitive to her presence. Oh, words failed me as she twirled back into my arms. I had dated plenty of women, but none had ever affected me like this. She felt like home, and the realization hit me with a force that left me rooted in place. The urge to keep her locked in my embrace intensified. No more kisses were allowed. I had to keep my distance. As she moved closer, rubbing her chin against me, I said, "I'm trying to figure you out. 1 minute you kiss me, the next you're stiff and not smiling. Does the FBI rip that out of its agents or something?" I tapped her chest lightly. This conversation was a dizzying merry-go-round. With the music blaring, it was hard to maintain a coherent thought. If she were anyone else, I'd be different, but she shattered my reserve. It took a moment for her words to sink in, the implication about my heart lingering in the air. I brushed my fingers across her face as I muttered, "The FBI leaves me cold." Her body pressed against mine, warmth radiating between us. "You're far from that. You don't know that." I could be ruthless, but near her, that part of me slipped away. My hips swayed instinctively, brushing against her, igniting a primal urge to sweep her off her feet and take her upstairs. Instead, I said, "I don't want to talk about work." "Then let's talk about us." "Us?" Absolutely not. There was no us or we in this lifetime. My hands trailed up her back, sending heat coursing through me. "You are a more interesting topic. Funny, too." "What's funny?" Her expression shifted as if I'd crossed a line. The music surged, the tempo frantic, making it hard to hear each other over the chaos. I grimaced. "Nothing. We can't." Her frown conveyed disappointment, but for now she held her tongue. The music whipped into a frenzy as I guided her in a circle. I pressed my lips together, feeling the tension build as she asked, "What's holding you back?" The song ended on a high note, and I felt the ache in my lips to kiss her again. Instead, I led her off the dance floor, unwilling to torture myself further. The night was creeping in, shrouding us in the shadows that made it easy to forget. My body couldn't handle being this close to her. I took her hand, adrenaline surging within me. Breaks would certainly help right now. "My family?" I brought her to stand between the wall and the dance floor, her brightness fading as she said, "Your sister liked me." She knew I liked her. I glanced at our table. The food was far less enticing than the woman before me. Part of me longed to push past my issues and just take her, but I leaned against the wall instead. "The House of Morgan is unforgettable." "Perhaps it's your father that holds you still." Her words hung in the air as I massaged her shoulders, the warmth between us almost electric. I leaned in, our lips tantalizingly close, but she turned her head away. I caught the mist in her eyes, a hint of something deeper swirling beneath the surface. "Let's change topics. Why did you join the FBI?" I could feel the tension in the room. I was the one with the issues. Every beat of my heart urged me to pull her closer and never let go. I looked into her blue eyes, searching for clarity, and saw a glimmer, maybe fear, maybe desire. It was enough to send my pulse racing. I shook my head, trying to regain control. "To find out what lengths my father would go to. I know he had something to do with Vicki's death." My stomach twisted at the thought. Would he really kill his own daughter? If I stood in his way, he'd discard me without a second thought. I'd assume he'd do the same to her. Yet you joined the FBI to hunt down his associates, and still he didn't cut you out. Despite how miserable I remember Vicki being with him, I can't believe he'd kill his only daughter. I felt her touch on my forearm, a gesture of comfort. "Don't think about him." Then she hugged me, her body pressed against mine, and I trembled, fighting the urge to hold her too tightly. "Deal." I nodded, pulling back from the embrace. Vicki was distant and unseen for months before she died. I thought we were heading to college together, but she never showed up. She tilted her head, taking in my features, her beauty shining like a beacon. "She never confided in you why she disappeared?" I shook my head, squeezing her hand as we made our way to the table where dinner had just arrived. "No, I hoped you might know." I held her chair as she sat, then pushed her in gently. "Where did you go after the funeral?" "I was getting my master's at Stanford the day she died." I settled into my seat across from her, remembering how my father had assumed I was destined for science. When I moved to D.C. and distanced myself from everything, he hardly noticed. Right after the funeral, I enrolled in the FBI Academy. My father was furious. He threatened to disown me. Both of her hands enveloped mine across the table, grounding me, but he didn't. It felt good to share this with her. I hadn't had anyone in my corner for as long as I could remember. No, he kept the money flowing into my accounts, but now I have no idea what will happen. I guess I'll find out at the will. Maybe Peter disagreed with your dad. Her touch made the entire day worth living. I withdrew my hand and gazed into her clear, lovely face. Then I poured us both a glass of wine. I don't know. Peter was the oldest and the most distant. Out of all of us, he remembered our mother the most, and I think I was jealous of his memories. I took the glass from her as she squeezed my shoulder. You don't? I shook my head. Fragmented images flashed through my mind, but nothing concrete. I brushed my hand against hers again, feeling the warmth radiate from her. I can't imagine how that feels. Vicki always said your mom left you all the day she was born, but if you have memories, that must be hard. I'm so sorry. This conversation felt sacred, something only she could understand. I withdrew my hand, rubbing the back of my neck, unsure why I was sharing so much. The server interrupted, asking, Do you need anything else? No, thanks. I didn't take my eyes off her. I'm glad we're honest with each other. As soon as we were alone again, I smiled, feeling a warmth spread across my face. I could almost believe I was related to angels if such things existed. 'Cause you can trust me, it's okay. John, I told you my darkest secret. I wish I'd known about your crush back then. I sipped my wine, feeling a rush of heat. She had no idea how I felt. We finished our dinner and I shook my head. I was just a tomboy and your sister's friend. That couldn't be the reason he hadn't noticed me before. If he had, the explosion of feelings inside him wouldn't be so overwhelming now. I drank my wine and she scooted closer. You turned out to be the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. What had she said? My body reacted to her, every cell urging me to take her. I stared at her mouth, remembering how sweet she tasted, better than any fruit, like heaven. I opened my eyes and offered a smile. With a playful wink, I said, That's it. We're getting married. Her entire body stilled. What? I laughed. Perhaps I could be flirty and fun. I'm joking slightly. I don't know how much more flirting I can do. John, we're both adults now. We should go upstairs. It wasn't a joke. The image of a simple life with her waiting for me at the door flickered through my mind like a film reel. If I married her, she'd be part of my life forever, and no one would suffer if I kept her close. It was a thought worth considering. I took her hand and guided her into the hotel. Then I'll make sure you get back to your room. Alone. I noticed her wince, a flash of hurt crossing her face. Okay, she said, shrugging it off. Thank you for tonight. As we walked toward the elevator, her hand remained in mine, and I could feel the warmth radiating from her soft skin. I pressed the button to summon the elevator. At the funeral tomorrow, I'll need to keep my distance. The press will be there. Please don't take it personally. So you don't want people on television to see me with you? She asked, a hint of confusion in her voice. It's for your protection. You need to be safe, away from Peter and Jennifer and their narrow worldview. The elevator doors opened and we stepped inside. I pressed 13 while she pressed 12. Part of me yearned to go to her room and tear that dress off her body, but I gripped the elevator door to restrain myself. Why? She asked, her brow furrowing. The doors closed, sealing us in our own little world. I wouldn't kiss her again, not here. I swallowed hard. I'm attracted to you, and that's not something my brother or the world needs to witness. I rubbed my arms, meeting her gaze. Her eyes sparkled with a question she didn't voice. Should I lean her back against the elevator wall and kiss her fiercely? Not right now. I intended for forever, and forever doesn't begin with seduction. A potential wife was far different from a fleeting hookup. I stood taller, needing to embody strength for both of us. You really don't trust him, do you? She asked, her voice steady. What had I said? Something about my brother. My mind caught up with the conversation, though my lips still ached to taste hers. I don't know. He might be fine, but in the House of Morgan, signs of affection can be weapons. You're too sweet. Without thinking, I captured her lips in a kiss, and an electric jolt surged through me, a powerful sense that we belonged together. My hands found her waist as she wrapped her arms around my neck. I pulled back, gasping for air as the elevator stopped and the door slid open, and for a heartbeat we lingered in silence, neither of us moving. The elevator dinged again, and I instinctively reached out to stop the doors from closing. Okay. Good night, she finally said, moving like an angel as she stepped off the elevator, and then I blurted out, Coffee afterwards? The words slipped from my mouth before I could think. She turned, her smile lighting up the dim space. Where? I fumbled for my phone, praying my hands didn't betray my nerves. "I'll text you if you give me your number." A laugh danced on her lips, though it was silent. "Smooth, John." She took my phone and typed in her number, handing it back to me. The air was filled with a scent reminiscent of strawberries, and I could almost taste her sweetness lingering on my tongue. I stepped back from the elevator, whispering, "Good night." "I'll see you at the funeral," she replied, leaving me momentarily speechless. She was incredible. If I could bottle her essence and keep her in my life, I'd be happier than I'd been in years. Once inside my room, I stared at her number, a smile creeping onto my face. I knew I would find her again, but I refused to spend the evening like a lost puppy dog fixated on her name. I closed the phone app and checked my email, where a second message caught my eye. "John Morgan, you are the reason my family is dead. Now that I know your name, nothing can stop me from taking away everything you ever loved, starting with the Brunette." My body froze, instincts kicking in. I forwarded the message to my ex-boss at the FBI, my hands clenching into fists. I might have quit, but this was likely job-related. Pain shot through my chest like a heart attack. All that mattered now was ensuring her safety. The FBI was my best option. With the Morgan fortune, I could hire whatever security necessary. Rejoining my father's world meant facing my choices, but I wouldn't allow anyone to hurt her. Coldness seeped into my bones. I'd never go out with Alice Collins again if it meant keeping her safe. The threat mentioned her specifically. I had to protect her. No one would ever hurt her. Grabbing my bag, I headed for the door. Tonight, I'd sleep in the hall.